Welcome back to the channel. This is a More Better SN coming at you with a different kind of deck today. This is an under construction deck. This is a deck that I'm currently playing around with and building, but I haven't actually purchased in paper yet or finalized the deck list. That's why I'm posting it. I want you guys to, comment down below. Let me know some cards that I should put in, cards I should take out, cards that aren't needed, stuff like that. I'm looking for the community to kind of really help me finish off this deck. Let's just hop right into it. It's a Mono-White Planeswalker Superfriends style deck that's got a lot of control in it. You can see that there's 9 Planeswalkers in the deck. I don't know if that's enough or if it's the correct amount. Please let me know. I built a Super Friends deck before, but that whole purpose of that deck was just straight up Planeswalkers, getting them in and getting them to Ultimate, where this deck is more of a control-y style. So let's hop into the cards and their synergies and stuff like that, and then we'll wrap it up at the end with hopefully we can get some suggestions down in the comments. And then I'll make a follow-up video if there's any major changes that were made to this deck. All right, at 1 mana, we have part of our removal package. This is Lay Down Arms. This is a great 1 mana sorcery where I can exile a creature equal to the number of planes I control. We have a lot of planes in the deck, so it definitely gives you the ability to exile some really strong creatures that you normally wouldn't be able to get rid of with a normal removal spell. Up next, we have Ambitious Farmhand. Now, this is a 1/1 for 2 mana that lets you search your library for a basic planes, and it just helps us not miss our land drops, which are very important because you can see in the top end we have some 6 mana spells, so we definitely want to hit our land drop every turn. And with the ability to give +1/+1 counters to different things, the Coven ability, which lets us transform this for 3 mana if we control 3 or more creatures with different powers, and then this creature turns into a 3/3 with lifelink, which is nice. It's a nice little bonus. It's not going to happen all the time, but it is nice that it's there and it's in our tool belt in case we need something like that. More of our removal package. We have Ossification. This is a 2 mana enchantment, which lets us exile creatures or planeswalkers, which is very important because we can exile the planeswalkers on the other team, and the Lay Down Arms doesn't allow us to do that. So it just gives a little more flexibility to our removal package. All right, next up we have Spirited Companion. This is a 2 mana 1/1 that just draws us a card. It's a nice target for bouncing, which we'll show you in a little bit. But this is also just a way to just draw cards as much as possible during the game. Then we have Wedding Announcements, a 3 mana enchantment. Now this does a lot of different things. So it says at the beginning of your end step, put an invitation counter on this enchantment. If you attacked with 2 or more creatures this turn, draw a card. So we can draw cards, which is nice. Otherwise, you create a 1/1 white human creature token. And then if it has 3 or more invitation counters on it, then you get to transform it into an anthem that gives your creatures +1/+1. So we have 4 of these in there because we want to pump out a bunch of tokens. We also, if we need to, we can draw a card, which just depends on the situation, but it gives us some flexibility. Next up, we have Caretaker's Talent, the 3 mana enchantment class from Bloomborough. Now, this is got a lot of different things that are going to synergize with our deck. The main one is just like when it comes in with the 3 mana, it's a Takesia's Welcome, it's a Welcoming Vampire, it's a what's the other one? The Enduring Innocence. That whenever 1 or more tokens enter the battlefield, then we get to draw a card. And it happens once a turn, so that's nice. Just more card draw. Like this so far, we're looking at a lot of card draw, a lot of card advantage. And that's what, because we really want to hit our land drops, and we really want to have as many tools in our hand as possible to deal with whatever the other opponent is doing. Then you can pay 1 and you can copy a token. So you can copy one of the bigger tokens, not like a little 1/1, but you can if you'd like. And then at the end, we can pay 4 mana and give all of our creature tokens +2/+2. Other than, there's only like a couple creatures in this deck. Otherwise, most of it is creature token based. So this will definitely be able to give a nice anthem to your creature tokens. Next up, we have Wandering Emperor. This is a 4 mana, 3 loyalty planeswalker with flash. And when it enters the battlefield, you can activate loyalty abilities whenever you'd be able to cast an instant. So basically, you're going to be using this for its ultimate, which is the 3rd ability, -2, exile target tap creature, you gain 2 life. You wait for them to attack or declare attackers, and then you cast this, exile one of their big creatures, gain 2 life, and then you can block the rest or do whatever you need to do. Otherwise, the other 2 abilities on this are also amazing. You get to create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with vigilance for only -1, which is nice because those can scale really well with all the other things that we have going on, with the creature tokens getting +2/+2, the wedding announcements giving +1/+1. So these are going to be big vigilance creatures. Also, the +1 ability on this is to put a +1/+1 counter on 1 target creature, and it gains first strike until end of turn. So you can have that samurai out there, you can give it first strike, and you can attack, and then it still get to stay back on defense. So this is a great planeswalker for control and for creating creature tokens. Next up, our next planeswalker is another 4 mana planeswalker with 4 loyalty. This is Archangel Elspeth. With her +1, you get to create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. And with all those anthems, those are going to get pretty big, pretty quick. And you'll be able to gain a lot of life off that and keep you alive. It's -2. Put 2 1/1 counters on target creature. It becomes an angel in addition to its other types and gains flying. So those vigilance creature tokens, you can give it flying and let it get over the top, or block one of their creatures with flying. And then -6. Return all non-land permanent cards with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So anything that gets removed, like your ambitious farmhands, your spirited companions, wedding announcement, caretaker's talent, all that, or your ossifications if they destroy your enchantments, all those will get brought back to the battlefield. We're not really going to be using it much for that. We're going to be creating, if it comes down to it, and it could really help us a lot in the long run, if like they did a board wipe and we could return all of our farmhands to the battlefield and then grab a bunch of lands, that would be great. But we're really using this for the ability to create lifelink soldier creature tokens and to pump our team and make them fly. And then that just can be a continuous engine over and over and over again. All right, now we got our board wipe, Day of Judgment, destroy all creatures, very basic. 1 sentence with 3 words in it, very straightforward. Now we have Beza, the Bounding Spring. This is a new card from Bloomburrow. When Beza the Bounding Spring enters, create a treasure token. So basically, this is Sunset Revelry, but in a creature form and way more powerful. Sunset Revelry would just gain you a couple life, draw a card, and create 2 1/1s. This does all those things, but even better, because you're getting a 4/5 body out of it for 4 mana. And then it says when it enters, you get to create a treasure token if they have more lands than you, which helps us ramp into our larger planeswalkers. You gain 4 life if an opponent has more life than you. You get to create 2 1/1 blue fish creature tokens if an opponent controls more creatures than you. And you get to draw a card if an opponent has more cards in hand than you. So you basically get to go down the entire list, see if you have a disadvantage at anything, and then immediately make up for that. So this is, Beza is definitely a game-turning kind of card, especially if you're trying to play a little catch-up. Plus, it's a good target for bouncing because of those ETB effects, since it has like 5 of them. All right, next up, we have Virtue of Loyalty. Virtue of Loyalty is a 5-mana enchantment, but we're initially going to be using it for its instant ability to create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. Again, another creature token with vigilance, which is nice, just like the Wandering Emperor Samurais. So it's another way to create tokens at 2 mana, which is nice. But then also it has that nice top end, where at 5 mana, at the beginning, this is basically, this could win the game for you. At the beginning of your end step, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, untap those creatures. That gets out of control very quickly. We already have a bunch of anthems in this deck. We already have a bunch of ways to create creature tokens, even if they don't have vigilance, and a lot of things have lifelink. So you could be swinging in and then with everything and not having to worry about a crackback, because everything's going to untap and get stronger every time you finish a turn. So this could really overwhelm the opponent, especially if we're going to be going very wide with tokens. Next up is the Eternal Wanderer. This is a 6 mana, 5 loyalty planeswalker. We're going to be using this for its ultimate. For each player, choose a creature that player controls. Each player sacrifices all creatures they control not chosen this way. So this is a big board wipe where you can choose your best creature and you can choose their worst creature and then sacrifice everything else. And then you can swing in or do anything like that. No more than one creature can attack the Eternal Wanderer each combat, so that means this Planeswalker is going to survive after that board wipe unless they can really flood the board very quickly on their next turn. Its +1 ability is the ability I was talking about with bouncing for the Spirited Companion and Beza. Exile up to one target artifact or creature, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of that player's next end step. So this works two ways. You can do it for your own creatures for some utility, and you can get Beza to re-enter the battlefield and all those triggers go off, or have the Spirited Companion re-enter and draw a card. Or you can do it to something on their end, maybe something that has counters on it. Like if it's a 0/0 that says it comes into play with a certain amount of +1/+1 counters, you can just exile it, bring it back to the battlefield, and then when it enters the battlefield, it'll be back to its original power. If they made something that, was really scaling and going crazy. And then also the other aspect of this is you get to create another samurai for 0, which has double strike. So double strike, everybody loves double strike, and especially like I was saying before, with all the different anthems and things we have, the double strike is going to get very powerful very quickly, especially when you're at 6 mana and are able to cast this. You're already going to have a couple of those anthems already going. And then the last top end card is we have Elspeth, Sun's Champion. This is a 6 mana 4 loyalty planeswalker. It has a bunch of great abilities. So it's +1. You get to create 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. So like I said before, let's say we have 2 anthems already or something like that, and everything's already getting +2/+2. You get to create 3 3/3s with just its +1 ability, which is already insane. And if you have virtual loyalty out there, then they're going to get even bigger every turn. It's absolutely insane. Then it's -3, destroy all creatures with power 4 or greater. It's a good way to get rid of a lot of those bigger creatures that are bothering you, since we don't have anything in our deck that is that much bigger. Like we have Beza, and if we have any of these anthems, we can't really use that. But if we don't have them going, and we don't have anything available to cast, then let's just do this. Let's just throw this out there and destroy everything, and then start creating a bunch of 1/1 white soldier creature tokens, and then try to win the game that way. And then also, if we do enough of that, so if we do 3 rounds of creating 1/1s, we're gonna have 9 1/1 creature tokens on the battlefield. And then you can -7 this, and you get to get an emblem with creatures you control get +2/+2 and have flying. So that means you're going to have, 9 3/3s that have flying. That's 27 damage coming in. And I don't think your opponent's really going to be able to stop that. But we only have one of those at the top end, just because the Eternal Wanderer has a little more control ability to it. I'm just bouncing back and forth about, should I have 1 Eternal Wanderer? Should I have 2? Should I have 3 and cut Elspeth? Like that, my top end is where I'm really kind of struggling right now with my top end planeswalkers. So if you could leave a comment down below of what you think I should do with this top end combo, let me know. Let's jump to the mana base. We have lay down arms, so we need a lot of planes. So we have a lot of planes in the mana base. We have Castle Ardenvale, which is an untapped creature producing land. So you can throw this in, and it enters tapped unless you control planes, but we're definitely going to be controlling a planes. and then you can tap it for 1, or you could pay 4 and create a 1/1 white human creature token. So it's just another way to create tokens on the battlefield if we run out of other options. We also have the Fountain Port. This gives us a lot of other utility where we can just add a colorless mana, or we can sacrifice one of our tokens and draw a card if we're really looking for a specific answer. We can also create blue fish creature tokens if we pay a life. And if we have nothing else to do that turn, and we're really just trying to ramp into one of our bigger planeswalkers, we can pay 4 and tap this and create a treasure token. So that way we can ramp up for the next turn. Next thing up, we have Mobilized District. We only have one of this in here just because, you know, if we get it, it's great. If we don't, it's not a big deal. Just a nice to have, well, as what I like to call those. It's a colorless land, and you can pay 4, and it becomes a 3/3 citizen creature token with vigilance. And it costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature and planeswalker you control. So we have Beza as a legendary creature, and we have all these planeswalkers. So if we have like 2 of these planeswalkers in play, this is only going to cost 2 mana to activate, and it becomes a 3/3 with vigilance until end of turn, which is pretty nice to have. And the last land we have is the Westvale Abbey. This is a colorless land again, where you can pay 5 and pay a life and create a 1/1 white and black human cleric creature token, which I will probably never ever do because I could pay 3 and pay a life and get a fish token for the same ability for 2 less mana. But the real big thing is sacrifice 5 creatures, transform this land, and then untap it. So when you sacrifice 5 tokens, you can transform this into a 9/7 flying lifelink indestructible haste. You can attack with this right away. It has flying, it has lifelink. At this point in the game, you might have some anthems, so this is going to be even bigger, and it's indestructible. So that just adds another level of insanity to this, where you can attack in with something indestructible and just have that on the battlefield. So that's the deck. Like I said, it's still under construction. I would love to hear some feedback from the community on what I should do to this. So if you have any suggestions, leave them down in the comments. And until next time, I'm more better SN, and we'll catch you tomorrow with another deck tech.